full disclosure, I've never played a Sonic kart racing game before, or at least not a lot. So right off the bat, it's really funny to me how much like Mario Kart this is. From the starting boost, to drifting, to the kart customization, and even the levels feel similar with their speed pads and jumps. And I can't believe they got away with the double item. I mean, that's patently a Mario Kart Double Dash pickup. Good thing this came out before Nintendo patented double item pickups, or Sega would be in some serious trouble. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is here, and all of the jokes aside, they put in some serious effort to try and mix things up from the traditional kart racing experience. Instead of just jumping, your character does really cool flips to gain boost. The drifting is also a little bit different from Mario Kart, the way that you make your kart slide. I also like the way that the boost itself in the beginning works a little bit different. It's really more centric towards launch control. You're not just making sure to press a button at the right time. You're actively like moving this little throttle up and down to make sure that you're in the green zone. The jumping is fun, so dynamic. Outside of the Mario and Sonic Olympic games where you could do some skateboarding, I have yet to see any of the Mario characters do some cool flips like that. And I also want to say that this definitely does look better than Mario Kart World. And that's still not necessarily fair to say. We can't do a full one-to-one comparison because at this time, as of the time of this recording, they have not put out a Switch 2 version of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. There are definitely some awe-inspiring visuals, especially as we were right there in the casino level, one of my favorite zones from Sonic, the Casino Night zone. I think visually this is really on par with the modern Sonic games. They definitely make heavy use of speed lines and tons of visual effects. For a really quick comparison, here is the second round level of the first Grand Prix, Rainbow Garden, running on the PlayStation 5. And here is the same level running on the Nintendo Switch 2. Just looking at this, just looking at the game itself, it really feels like there's just so much more going on all at once here than you would expect in like a Mario Kart. It also fittingly feels faster. As a Sonic game, the name of the game here is Speed. The races almost feel condensed, like they're shorter, but it allows there to be more action, less downtime. When you start a Grand Prix, you have rivals, and in general, some of the Sonic elements, like the collectible red rings, add a bit more dynamic feel to the gameplay. And the gadgets mechanic is also pretty cool. Why is that with Mario Kart we have to stick to one set of stats for the whole Grand Prix, when instead it would be much more interesting to be able to change modifiers in between races? Again, variety is king. And speaking of variety, in the full version of the game, they included plenty of cool characters from IPs that are Sega related, but outside of the Sonic universe. You have stuff like Persona, Hatsune Miku, and even Yakuza now. There's no word on an IRL NASCAR driver yet. I'm still waiting for them to announce Richard Petty for this game, so I got my fingers crossed for that. But yeah, the game blends these different universes with the main idea, the theme, being the cross worlds. The worlds are crossing in this Sonic racing game, and I think that's going to help bring in a lot of extra fans too. At this point, Sega has an awesome portfolio of franchises in its toolshed. They also announced DLC too, so if you're waiting for anything else to be added, that might be later on down the road. Again, Sega has tons of cool properties that they have the rights to use and include in a game like this, so you never know what you're gonna get here. Now for a nitpick I noticed. Even running on PS5, there were some delay type moments and lagging with the loading screen and in some of the menu. I've noticed this with a few Sega games lately, and I'm not sure what the issue is. I think back to Persona 5, which was published by Sega, which is also featured in this game for its characters and levels. I think of how seamless and smooth that menu was even back then. So it is kind of a shame that this annoyance exists here. While I do say that, it is important to note that it's not the end of the world. It just strikes me as something that they could fix. While initially I can say I didn't notice too much of a difference between the Switch and PS5, with my limited time playing the game, at that point I was mostly playing it Switch dock. And it has to be said, obviously the PS5 version will look better, with the PC version being the best overall, but with the Switch, there's unfortunately a weird scenario, where if you want to play the Switch 2 version, it just isn't out yet. You can play it on your Switch 2, but what's out right now is the Switch 1 version of the game. The Switch 2 version is supposed to come eventually. For those of us hoping for a physical release for the Switch 2, that is going to be even further off in 2026. So keep your wallet at ease, because anything like that won't be out this year, sadly. But back to the point of the different versions. With the current situation that's on the Switch for this game, it's not really the graphics that I'm too concerned with, but the frame rate and the overall smoothness. You know, I expect a Switch 1 game to not have the best visuals. However, playing it on PS5, you can see that it is really running at the FPS this game deserves to be at, and consistent. With the Switch 1 version in its current state, and even running on the Switch 2, it is choppy to say the least. So yeah, if you feel like dealing with the situation that they got going on with the Switch, that is again playing the Switch 1 version on your Switch 2, you're going to have to make that call. I'd probably say for a smoother experience, go with PS5, but if like me, you want to be able to take this game on the go, it may be worth waiting to see if the actual Switch 2 version will be more fine-tuned than its Switch 1 counterpart. And now, while I may not ever understand why Sonic needs to race in a kart, mind you, I'm a millennial that grew up on the OG Sonic racing experience, where the majority of the characters were just running with their two legs, I have to admit, this game right here kicks ass. Thus far, my experience with a little bit of the content from this game has been very, very enjoyable. I honestly love having Mario Kart World, and I want to have Sonic Racing CrossWorlds on the Switch 2 available so I can play them and interchange and switch and mix and match between the two games whenever I want. And yeah, that's going to do it for this fast look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you love racing content, definitely hang out, because we got more of that for you. You can also catch some of my streams. I stream about 2 times per week. I stream on Twitch and on YouTube. And also go check out our sister channel, Two Stupid Gamers, for all sorts of great variety gaming content. So again, I'm Mash the Stampede. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a fast look. I'll see you next time.